Hello and welcome to my last newsletter video for 2020. Oh my goodness, we've actually made it to the end of the year, which has been the most incredible journey, both on a personal level, but globally as well. And we've all had to adapt and change and conform and non-conform, and all sorts of things have gone on in 2020, which has made it a year of growth and a year of really being able to take stock and to look at what your beliefs are, and how they measure up against what's going on around us. And I thought I would focus this month's newsletter on FOMO. And I've just discovered JOMO. So FOMO is that phrase that we use, fear of missing out. And I think that's definitely what 2020 has brought to our attention in lockdown. Well, what are we missing out? We're missing out on friends and coffee and exercise, and missing out on our social well-being, missing out, the fear of missing out on opportunities. And I think that's been a big picture for us, I think, as a nation. Here in New Zealand, we did the hard yards and we followed and we conformed and we went for an elimination strategy, which has worked for us, our small country. But for other countries, it's been slightly different, and they've gone for different regimes and different lockdown processes. But there is an element of FOMO out there, of fear of missing out. What am I missing out if I'm going to be locked down? What am I missing out due to this COVID? What am I missing out in terms of personal relationships or work opportunities or business opportunities? What am I missing out if I give up this? And so what lies ahead? And so I've been thinking about the word JOMO, which is the joy of missing out. So what's the upside of missing out? And really interesting, I heard a lady she'd written into a morning television program, and she had been made redundant due to COVID, and they decided to leave the big smoke and move out to a provincial town. And she has got this JOMO, this joy of missing out, of not being in a metropolis, of not being close to what we perceive are the necessities in life. But what she's found in her joy, her JOMO, is that she has got a job, her partner's got a job, her daughter is in a small country school, a village school. She's not bullied, she fits in, she's getting quality education. And so the joy of missing out, that really inspired me listening to her journey, because that was my journey. I moved from a big city when Nathan was about to go to school, and we moved out to a tiny village of 5,000 people. And you walked to the village school, and you walked to the village shops, and you walked to the train station to get to the big metropolises. But the quality of life was so much better for us as a family than the fear of missing out, of the convenience of being in a big city. So I think for me, we've come to the end of this extraordinary year, this year in which we've had to make decisions, adapt and change, or pivot is the word. We've had to pivot. And so how has that changed our perception? Do we have FOMO or do we have JOMO? I know for myself, I've spent the last 7 months, or 9 months actually, focusing on the teaching academy, focusing on my online classes, and the joy of seeing and welcoming new students online, of promoting and finishing and launching the online teacher training program. I don't feel I've missed out at all. I definitely don't feel I'm suffering from FOMO, from having pivoted from looking at my career in one aspect and changing it to another. I feel I'm more of a JOMO, the joy of missing out, and investing in myself and investing in what makes me feel happy. So I thought I'd bring up this topic because we're at Christmas time and we're bombarded by advertising media. The latest, the top 10 gifts, the must-have gifts, the things that we have to have on holiday. We have to book the batch and have the family and cater for 50 people, and all of that pressure that really, is it driven by FOMO? Is it driven by fear of missing out? I've got to have a big Christmas, or I've got to be seen to be doing my bit. I've got to strive for perfection over a time of year, which we pack and condense everything into. We condense everything into this very short period of time, and we create this huge amount of pressure upon ourselves. I think we get sort of pulled along on an adrenaline high, those serotonins and those endorphins that make us feel happy, that thrill of spending money, of that thrill of purchasing, of being in queues, being in the throng of Christmas, can actually make us behave outside ourselves. And so we can get a sense of FOMO. However, we can also have a sense of JOMO, the joy of missing all of that out. Be you someone who sits on your computer and you purchase everything online. So you've got the joy of missing out of the queues and missing out of waiting in line. You've got the convenience of being at home, where you're maybe in a mindset where you're making the right decisions and you're not getting swept up with the extra bargains at the till and seeing what someone else has got in their hands. And you're going, oh, I should maybe get one of those. There's only 5 left. So Christmas time, it brings a lot of added pressure into our lives, where we have these two really distinct patterns. I know for ourselves, Mike and I, in our very early 20s, when I was about 24, we were completely and absolutely broke at Christmas. Michael had gone from a paid job to a commission paid job. And it was just so much pressure. And me being that Leo, I love giving gifts. I love giving gifts to people. That's a big Leo thing. Giving gifts to others is how we feel joy. It's a very joyous thing for us. And but we just couldn't do it. We just couldn't do it. So I phoned up all of the family. Michael is from a really big family, and I'm from actually a relatively small family. And we've done that whole that duty thing of buying prezzies for everyone in the previous years. But actually, I just sort of got in touch with them and I said, look, we just can't do it. We just don't have the funds. Really sorry, but no, we're not doing it. And we sort of sat eating our beans on toast, because that's what we had for our Christmas dinner. And I really just thought of the joy of, I'd paid the mortgage, we had beans on toast, we had electric, we were in our own home, we had a car. How lucky were we? How lucky were we? The joy of missing out, of the stress of putting myself under that pressure of trying to buy at least some gifts. We're actually just buying no gifts. It was just such a joy. And I have to say, being a true Scot, so I know I'm a Leo and I do like buying gifts, but being a really true Scot, if I don't have to buy gifts and if I don't have to spend money, then I won't spend money. And so we just never went back. Mike and I never went back to the whole process of buying lots and lots of gifts for people that were neither appreciated nor really necessary, because nobody missed not having a gift the year that they couldn't afford it. And I think for Mike and I, our focus then turned on to Nathan. We had him when I was quite late, geriatric mother, as we're called in medical terms. And And so it was all about him. A Christmas became about him and not about us. It became about him, as it would. It's your child. And it's that fairy tale, it's that fantasy, it's the joy that they experience. And then latterly, as Nathan became older, again, sort of taking stock of, well, what am I buying? And does he really need that? But actually, I think probably since we've come here, our gifts have all been very experiential gifts. So he's seen a catalogue of the most amazing international theatre productions, British comedians, actors, people that we would never normally think of going to see, but as a Christmas gift, then he's had the most experience, the most sort of excellent experience. And those memories, he still talks about, you know, his very first time of going to see Bill Bailey and what that was like, and seeing, you know, at the Rocky Horror Show, the most fabulous production on stage. And he's had a whole raft of gifts like that over the last few years, which have, although they've been a single gift, it's been a gift that's given him a great amount of joy, probably more joy than lots of little gifts that haven't really meant that much to him. So I really want you to think about, it's only the start of December. Some of you have probably done your Christmas shopping already. Some of you may just be starting. So sort of think about, what is driving your need? Is it for FOMO, the fear of missing out of the last bargain, the adrenaline rush of being in a crowd? And we're lucky here in New Zealand, we can go shopping, we can go on the streets and shop, and we will have our Christmas. Fingers crossed that we still contain everything at the borders. We will still have that joy of being together, and maybe that should be the essence for this year. Maybe that should be the essence of your holiday, the joy of being together, having that opportunity in what has been a really extraordinary year in terms of not being together, having to be confined, having missed out on loved ones. And I know for myself, I think keeping it simple for all of those years. One, we don't have any date in January, February or March, because we keep it really simple. And that's amazing. That's awesome. It's awesome to wake up on Boxing Day and not have that dread of credit card bills coming in. It's also that joy of the simplicity of it all. We're here on our own, so there is only the three of us. So it's really, it always is simple at Christmas, whether it's just sitting at the beach, having a picnic in our home. We've been really privileged to have a few picnics with family and friends out and about in New Zealand. But keeping it simple is sometimes the easiest and the most joyous experience that you can have. So really think about this year. This year has made us think differently about our connection to others. It's made us feel differently about what is important. And possibly this is your beans on toast moment. This is a moment where you can strip Christmas right back and go into JOMO, the joy of missing out, of not putting yourself under so much pressure that you actually miss out on what it is that you actually do have. I don't know, but that was my thoughts for November, watching the build up to Christmas, watching of what's going on around the world and where different countries are. I think New Zealand, we're in such a privileged position. We've all worked really hard to keep ourselves there. So we need to just strip it back, have that stripped back version of Christmas, but still have that joy of knowing that we can be with each other. So JOMO is definitely something to think about rather than FOMO, running around spending money on things that you may not necessarily need, or the person may not necessarily need, We don't have to be perfect all of the time. And behind me, I've got my keep calm again, because I think at Christmas time we do get a little bit hysterical. So think about JOMO, really think about the joy of just missing out, pulling back, being really honest with your family and your friends. Wonderful to see people on Facebook going, we're not sending cards this year. And that's a really good thing when we think about how COVID is spread, etc. Licking stamps and licking envelopes may not necessarily be the most hygienic thing to be doing right now. I don't know. But I think, yes, looking at how you can do it maybe just slightly differently this year and be in a place of JOMO. I have been in JOMO at Christmas time for too many years. I think 32 years, because I'm 56 this year. So 32 years of being in JOMO at Christmas time is just the most delightful place to be, and I can't imagine myself ever going back to that Christmas rush, even though I am a Leo. We've also got an opportunity in our spiritual clinic. So we had an amazing spiritual clinic. Thank you to everyone who keeps appearing every month. I feel so blessed when the big bongs happen and people are in the waiting room and they all come in, and there's just such a community being built around the spiritual clinic. I feel very, very blessed with you guys. Honestly, I really appreciate it. So I thought I would, following on from the success of last month where we did a meditation, and then we broke into little meeting rooms, little classrooms, we had a feedback session there. And the feedback from that has actually been just wonderful. People love the experience of an online meditation. For some who have known me in the physical form of coming and physically being present with me, they actually found the experience as powerful, if not more powerful, in the online version of doing meditation. And I think that comes down to you being in your own home, being, some of you are lying on your beds, some of you are in your sofas, some of you are actually at your work desk. You're still at work and you're joining me from your workplace, which is just wonderful. I feel very privileged to be part of your day, your work day. So we're going to do an online meditation again, and we'll split up into even smaller groups. I think I might split you into 2s and 3s this month. But we're going to look at mindset. We've come through 2020 and we've had to change our mind. We've had to change how we think. We've had to change how we direct our energy and our time, and we've pivoted, and we've done all those key things, those key words to cope with the pandemic. So we're going to look at the power of the mind, which is linked to the Arcturian light healing course, especially at level 1. We look at all of the mind processes in the Arcturian light healing course. It's one of the most popular online courses I have, actually. And so we'll look at the mind principles of the Arcturians, of what that actually means and how to use the power of the mind. And I thought I would do a little bit of a theta session to help remove some of the more negative or self-sabotaging mind blocks that you may have. So if you haven't joined the spiritual clinic, the link is in the newsletter. It is free. You just register, and as you register, then the link for the actual class will come through from there. It's on December the 16th, so it's the last one for this year. We'll take a break in January and we'll come back in February once the Christmas summer holidays are over here. And let's see if you can create a mindset for 2021 that will take you onto a brand new path, a new way of thinking, a more positive way of thinking through the power of the cognitive therapy of theta. So I'm really excited about that. So it's a wonderful end to the year. Think about where you are, if you are a FOMO or a JOMO. If you're a FOMO, you might want to move over to the JOMO side of thinking. And if you are really stressed and if you feel you want to improve your mindset, then absolutely join me for our little exercise on the spiritual clinic on the 16th of December. It's a Wednesday evening, it's at 7:30, and we'll see you in your very own space for that session. So until next month, have an amazing Christmas time, really do. Enjoy it rather than fear it. Enjoy it rather than put yourself under pressure. And we'll see you in 2021, where the energy of the rat is now leaving. And that's really interesting. Just as a side note, isn't it interesting? Rats are shifty and they ride on the back of everyone else to get to where they need. And they're conniving. They're very, very clever. Man, are we seeing that in the US election, the year of the rat, the dying embers of that energy? We're seeing it played out of what that actually is in sort of really close-up form by the outgoing president's behavior. So interesting. Year of the ox is coming in, so it's a bit more fastidious, a bit more steady. So yeah, we'll see you in the new year. New energy coming in, old energy going out. Whew, I think we'll be ready for it. I do think we'll be ready for that shift, not only in what's happening in the USA, but that shift in symbolic energy for us as we move through from one Chinese New Year to another vibrational New Year with the Chinese calendar as well. So until then, a very, very, very Merry Christmas. Thank you so much for your loyalty, for your feedback. I love your feedback as it comes through. I do respond to all the emails that come in. As always, if you feel someone would benefit from my message today, then share it. Either share the YouTube clip or share the video clip that we have here today. But until 2021, keep safe. Keep safe wherever you are in the globe. Keep safe and enjoy your time. Go for JOMO, the joy of missing out and just being simple, being stripped back, just being yourself. So until then, take care for now. Bye.